A damaged alien battleship crashes near an abandoned research outpost. Smoke, fire, and thunder shake the ground. From the wreckage rises an 8-meter-tall alien warrior, covered in armor and glowing wounds. She steps forward, towering over the lone human who witnessed the crash. Her voice shakes the night. "Are you afraid of me, human?" The human, heart racing, whispers something she never expected. "No. I love you." She freezes, confused, angry, and afraid of him. The story follows Evan, a quiet engineer assigned to a forgotten outpost. He thinks the crash is a meteor, until he sees the warrior emerge. The alien is named Valkyrie, a royal guardian from a distant empire. Valkyrie expects humans to run or scream. Evan doesn't move. When he says he loves her, she believes he's lying or mocking her. She grabs him gently but firmly, checking if he is a threat. Welcome to my channel Starlight Sci-Fi Story. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. The ground shook long before Evan saw the fire in the sky. At first, he thought it was thunder. The old research outpost where he worked always creaked during storms. But this sound was different. It was deeper, like the sky itself was cracking open. He stepped outside, squinting into the windy night. A bright red streak burned through the clouds, growing bigger and louder. A crashing roar followed, so strong that dust fell from the roof behind him. Then the fireball hit the valley. The explosion lit up the mountains like day. Evan shielded his face as heat washed over him. A shockwave slammed into his chest, nearly knocking him off his feet. When he lowered his arm, he saw flames rising from a wrecked metal shape, huge, twisted, and smoking. Not a meteor, a ship. He should have run back inside and radioed for help. He should have locked the doors, followed protocol, and waited. But something inside him pushed him forward. Curiosity, or maybe loneliness. Out here, in this forgotten station, he had spent too much time alone. Evan grabbed a flashlight and ran toward the crash. As he got closer, he saw that the ship wasn't small, like a fighter. It was massive, at least 20 meters long, shaped like a spear split open. Sparks burst from broken engines. Strange symbols glowed faintly across the hull, fading in and out. Evan's heart hammered in his chest. This wasn't human technology. He made it to the edge of the wreck, coughing from smoke. Pieces of the ship were scattered everywhere, cables, armor plates, melted metal. Something inside hissed and crackled, like a dying animal. He took one more step forward, then froze. Something moved. The wreckage shifted. A heavy metal beam lifted a few centimeters, then dropped. A deep, pained growl came from beneath it. Evan's throat tightened. Someone was alive in there. He hesitated only a moment, then climbed onto the shattered hull, pushing away burning debris. He followed the sound until he saw a massive armored hand, huge, dark blue, with claws sharp as knives, trying weakly to push the rubble away. His pulse spiked. This wasn't a human, not even close. He swallowed hard, then whispered, "Hello. Can you hear me?" The hand went still, then the rubble exploded outward. A towering shape rose from the fire, smoke curling around its body. Evan stumbled back, falling onto the dirt. His flashlight beam climbed up the creature, past its chest, its shoulders, its towering height. 8 meters. She stood 8 meters tall. Armor covered her from neck to feet, glowing with strange runes. Her skin, where it showed through broken armor, was dark silver. Wounds glowed like blue embers along her arms. Her eyes burned bright gold, sharp and focused, like a predator studying its next meal. She stared down at Evan, breathing hard from pain and exhaustion. When she spoke, her voice shook the ground. "Are you afraid of me, human?" Evan's breath hitched. Every instinct screamed at him to run, to hide, to scream. Instead, he looked at her wounds, at the pieces of metal sticking out of her side, at the way she struggled to stay standing. He saw pain, not danger, and something inside him, something soft, something human, took control. He shook his head. "No," he whispered. Then, without knowing why, he added softly, I love you." The alien warrior went completely still. Not angry, not confused, frozen. Her eyes widened. For a moment she looked less like a giant warrior and more like someone who had never heard those words before. Then she leaned down, lowering her huge face closer to him. Her breath was hot and smelled faintly metallic. "Human, what does that word mean to you?" she asked, voice softer now. "Why say it to me?" Evan tried to speak, but his throat was dry. I don't know. I just felt it. You're hurt. I can see you're in pain. She blinked slowly, as if trying to understand a language she had never heard. No creature shows affection to my kind, she said. We are bred for war. Built to be feared. Her voice lowered. Your words, they confuse me. Evan stood up slowly. Her enormous golden eyes followed him. Let me help you, he said. You're injured. A strange sound came from her, half a scoff, half a breath of disbelief. But she didn't lift her weapon or threaten him. If she wanted to kill him, she could have done it easily. What is your name, human? She asked. Evan, he replied. What's yours? She straightened, towering over him once more. Her voice echoed like thunder. I am Valkyrie of the Dominion Guard. Even injure. She radiated power, like a queen of some distant battle world. But her steps were shaky. She pressed one huge hand to her side as glowing blue blood seeped through her armor. Evan stepped forward instinctively. You're bleeding badly. Valkyrie growled, not in anger but frustration. My ship is dying. Its core is unstable. If it explodes, this land will burn for miles. Evan's eyes widened. We need to shut it down. Valkyrie looked at him carefully, almost suspiciously. You offer to help me, even though I could crush you with one foot. Why? Evan looked up at her. She was terrifying, powerful, towering, but she looked alone. You're not a monster, he said softly. You're hurt. Anyone deserves help. Her golden eyes softened, just slightly. For the first time in her life, someone saw her as more than a weapon. She nodded once, slowly. Very well, Evan. If you wish to help, follow me. She turned toward the broken ship but stumbled. Evan ran to her side and placed his hand against her armored leg, trying to steady her, even though his small human strength did almost nothing. Valkyrie looked down at him again, puzzled by his bravery, but she didn't push him away. Together, they moved into the burning wreck. Inside, sparks rained from above. Metal beams hung at dangerous angles. Deep inside the ship, a low humming grew louder, the reactor. Valkyrie lifted one massive beam off the path as easily as Evan lifted a chair. He watched, amazed, as her muscles tensed and the glowing runes on her armor brightened. You're incredibly strong, he whispered. She grunted. I was made to protect the royal line. Strength is my only value. Evan shook his head. No, it's not your only value. Valkyrie didn't answer, but she glanced at him as if she wasn't used to being spoken to like that. They reached the heart of the ship. A huge spherical reactor pulsed dangerously, cracks spreading across it. Blue light flickered inside like lightning trapped in a cage. Evan stepped forward nervously. I think I can stabilize it. At least long enough to shut it down. Valkyrie lowered herself to one knee beside him, the floor shaking with her weight. If the core fails while you touch it, your body will be vaporized, she warned. Evan swallowed. Thanks for the confidence. Valkyrie tilted her head, confused. Confidence? Never mind, he sighed. Using wires and tools from his belt, Evan worked quickly, sweat dripping from his forehead. Sparks burst near his hands, and he pulled back with a gasp. Valkyrie growled. If you are hurt, we will retreat. No, Evan said firmly. This is our only chance. She watched him carefully, almost protectively, her massive hand hovering in case he fell. Minutes passed. The hum grew louder, the light grew brighter, the reactor energy crawled faster across its cracks. Then, Evan twisted one last cable, and the entire room flashed white. Valkyrie shielded him with her giant arm as wind blasted outward. The reactor dimmed, then fell silent. Evan collapsed onto the floor, gasping for air. Valkyrie stared at the quiet machine, stunned. You did it, she whispered. She reached down and gently picked him up with her massive hand, lifting him so he sat in her palm like a tiny creature. Her eyes softened again. You risked your life for me, she said quietly. Why? Evan smiled weakly. Because you needed help. Her chest glowed faintly, soft blue light pulsing from beneath her armor. Evan didn't know what it meant, but Valkyrie quickly covered it with her hand, as if embarrassed. That is enough, she said, standing tall again. We must leave. The structure is unstable. But before they could move, a strange noise echoed from deeper in the ship, an electronic whir, sharp and cold. Valkyrie's eyes widened. No, they found me. A drone floated out from the shadows, black, round, and armed. Its red eye scanned the room before locking onto Valkyrie, then onto Evan. Evan stepped back nervously. What is that? A tracker, Valkyrie hissed. My enemies sent it. The drone projected a hologram. A huge alien face appeared, bigger than Valkyrie, with scars and glowing red lines across his skin. Valkyrie growled. General Tharkon, she spat. The hologram smirked. So, the mighty Valkyrie survived the crash. His gaze shifted to Evan. And she has chosen to protect a human. Evan felt chills run down his spine. Valkyrie moved in front of him, shielding him with her body. Tharkon's voice thundered through the room. Enjoy your final moments, Valkyrie. I am coming for you. And I will crush the little human first. The hologram vanished. The drone powered up its weapons. Valkyrie roared, lifting a metal beam like a sword. Evan, stay behind me. The drone fired. Valkyrie leaped forward. Metal clashed. Sparks flew. The ship shook as the battle began. And Evan realized something terrifying. Tharkon wasn't lying. If Valkyrie's enemies were coming, this was only the beginning. The drone's attack shook the burning ship. Red plasma bolts shot across the shattered room, lighting the metal walls with violent flashes. Valkyrie moved faster than Evan expected for someone so injured. She swung the metal beam she held like a sword, smashing the drone against the far wall with a loud crash. The drone sparked and fell silent. But Valkyrie didn't relax. Instead, she slowly lowered the beam and whispered, Tharkon has found me. He will come. He never hunts alone. Evan's heart pounded. Can we escape? Valkyrie shook her head. Not before he arrives. His ship is faster, and he will. I'll want to kill you first. Evan swallowed hard. That was not comforting. The entire crashed battleship groaned as flames consumed its damaged frame. Metal beams snapped and fell. Sparks rained down from the broken ceiling. Valkyrie stepped toward Evan and lowered herself to one knee. Climb onto my hand, she said. Evan obeyed shakily. Her giant hand closed around him gently, protecting him from falling debris as she pushed through the flaming hallway. Outside, cold night air replaced the burning heat. Smoke rose from the ship like a broken volcano. The valley was quiet except for the crackling fire. Valkyrie set Evan down on a rock. She scanned the sky. Her golden eyes narrowed. He will land soon, she said. Evan looked up at her, uneasy. Why is he after you? Valkyrie hesitated. The wind blew dust across her armor. Flames behind her lit her silhouette like a giant dark statue. I was a guardian of the royal heir, she said slowly. But I refused an order. An order to kill a peaceful world. Her fists tightened. Tharkon obeys every command without question. But I refused. So I became a traitor to my own empire. Evan stared at her in shock. You refused to kill innocent people. Yes. Valkyrie raised her chin. For that crime, he will destroy me. Evan felt something twist inside him. Fear, anger, admiration. She had saved worlds. She wasn't a monster. A distant rumble broke the silence. Evan turned sharply. What is that? Valkyrie tensed. He comes. A massive shadow descended from the clouds. A huge alien warship, black and spiked like a blade forged for one purpose, war. It hovered above the valley, engines roaring. Dust blasted in every direction. A beam of red light shot down. A giant figure stepped out of it. Evan's breath caught. He was enormous, at least 9 meters tall, even larger than Valkyrie. His armor glowed red. His skin was dark gray with cracks of molten light running through it. He carried a huge war axe shaped like a burning crescent moon. General Tharkon. His voice echoed through the valley like thunder. Valkyrie. Valkyrie stepped forward, her body shielding Evan. Tharkon, she growled. This is not your world. Leave the human out of this. Tharkon's glowing red eyes moved to Evan. His lip curled. This human made you weak. I can see it. You protect him, more than you protect your own honor. Valkyrie snarled, her eyes blazing. You know nothing of honor. Evan felt tiny, like an ant watching two mountains prepare to fight. He wanted to run, to hide, but something inside held him still. Valkyrie's giant frame stood before him like a wall. She was protecting him again. Tharkon lifted his axe, pointing it at Evan. When he dies, your spirit will break. Then you will kneel before me. Valkyrie exploded foe. R-ward with a roar. The ground shook. Dust flew. Tharkon swung his axe in a wide arc, sparks flying as Valkyrie blocked the blow with her armored forearm. She winced in pain but didn't fall. Evan watched helplessly as the two giant warriors clashed. Their movements were fast, powerful, each strike strong enough to crush a truck. Tharkon kicked Valkyrie backward. She slid across the dirt, leaving a deep trench. Evan ran toward her, but she shouted, "Stay back." Tharkon charged again, swinging overhead. Valkyrie rolled aside, grabbed a fallen metal pillar from the crashed ship, and smashed it into Tharkon's chest. The blow echoed across the valley. But Tharkon barely staggered. "You've grown weak, Valkyrie," he taunted. "You bleed for a human." Valkyrie roared and attacked again. But her injuries slowed her. Tharkon overpowered her strike, grabbing her by the throat and lifting her off the ground. Evan froze. She was choking. Her feet kicked weakly. Tharkon looked at Evan with a cruel smile. "Watch, human. Watch your protector die." Something inside Evan snapped. Without thinking, he grabbed a broken ship cable lying nearby. At its end was a glowing power node, still active. Dangerous. Unstable. He didn't care. He ran straight for Tharkon, charging at the giant's ankle. "Hey!" Evan yelled. Tharkon glanced down, confused. That was enough. Evan slammed the glowing node into Tharkon's armor. A burst of energy exploded. Sparks erupted. Tharkon roared, dropping Valkyrie and stumbling backward. Evan was thrown to the ground, rolling hard across the dirt. His ears rang. His hands burned. Valkyrie collapsed, coughing, air returning to her lungs. She saw Evan lying on the ground, hurt. Her eyes filled with fury. "Evan." Tharkon looked down at Evan with murderous rage. "You tiny insect," he growled. "I will crush you first." He raised his foot. Evan couldn't move. Valkyrie stood up. Fast. Faster than before. Her armor glowed bright blue, brighter than it ever had. Her wounds shone like fire. Blue light pulsed through her chest, her arms, her eyes. It was like something inside her had awakened. She sprinted forward and slammed into Tharkon with the force of a meteor. The impact echoed across the valley. Tharkon fell onto his back, the ground cracking beneath him. Valkyrie didn't stop. She leaped onto him, grabbing his axe arm and snapping it sideways. The weapon fell into the dirt. Tharkon roared in fury, trying to push her off, but she was stronger now, driven by something deeper than duty. Her voice shook with rage. "You will not touch him." She struck Tharkon again and again. Each blow dented his armor. Blue energy burst from her fists, fueled by adrenaline and emotion. Tharkon coughed blood. His strength was failing. "Valkyrie Rai," said a final fist. "For the innocent worlds you burned," she growled. She struck down. The valley fell silent. Tharkon didn't move. Valkyrie stood slowly, breathing hard, her chest still glowing with that bright blue light. She staggered slightly but turned toward Evan immediately. She rushed to him, kneeling carefully. "Evan, are you hurt?" she asked, voice shaking. Evan tried to sit up. "I'm okay," he breathed. "Just very dizzy." Valkyrie gently scooped him into her hands. He looked up at her face, strong, fierce, but filled with worry. "You saved me," she whispered. Evan laughed weakly. "You saved me first." She stared at him for a long moment, something strange and warm in her expression. The blue light in her chest softened, becoming a gentle glow. "That light," Evan said quietly. "What is it?" Valkyrie looked away, almost shy, something unbelievable for a giant warrior. "It is a sign of our heart's truth," she said softly. "My people glow when we feel something powerful." Evan blinked. "Like emotion?" She nodded slowly. "Yes, strong emotion." He swallowed. "Because of me." Valkyrie hesitated, then nodded again. Before either of them could speak, engines roared overhead. Bright lights lit up the sky as several large alien ships descended, sleek, silver, and marked with royal symbols. Valkyrie tensed. "The royal fleet. They came for me." A group of tall warriors stepped out of one ship. They bowed to Valkyrie. "Royal Guardian Valkyrie," their leader said. "We received your distress signal. You must return at once." Another warrior pointed at Evan. "What of the human? He is small, weak. He cannot follow." Valkyrie's body stiffened. She looked at Evan, then at her own people. "I will not leave him," she said firmly. The aliens exchanged shocked glances. "Valkyrie," the leader warned, "you risk exile. A guardian must not bond with an outsider." Evan felt his chest tighten. He didn't want to ruin her life. He opened his mouth. "Valkyrie, it's okay. You don't have to choose." She silenced him gently by closing her hand around him protectively. Her voice boomed across the valley. "I have chosen. This human saved my life. He risked everything. He is brave. He is loyal, and I will stay with him." Silence. Every alien warrior stood still. None dared argue with her. After a long moment, the fleet commander bowed. "So be it, Guardian Valkyrie. Your choice will be respected." The other ships powered down, their engines dimming. Valkyrie looked down at Evan. "Are you afraid of me now?" she asked softly. Evan shook his head, smiling. No, I'm not afraid of you. Her chest glowed brighter, warm, soft, like a star beating with life. She lowered her forehead to him gently. And I am not afraid of love, she whispered. Evan touché. Her armor, feeling the warmth beneath. Then, let's face the future together, he said quietly. Valkyrie smiled, a real smile, warm and full of life. With you, Evan, she said, I will face any world. And under the night sky, surrounded by crashed metal and glowing alien ships, the giant warrior and the tiny human stood together. Not as strangers, not as enemies, but as something entirely new. End.